Exodus 21, 1 to 36. So these are God's law for the Israelite, and it involves like slave servanthood. I'm not sure if it's the same as slavery, because right here it says when you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve you for 6 years, and in the 7th year he shall go free. And so there is like God set a limit on like the duration for which a servant is to serve. I guess back then, what I understand is that they might get poor or they might like need money, and the way to do that is they're gonna sell themselves as servants in order to like pay off whatever debt they have. The question is though that this talk about a Hebrew servant, so I think there are non-Hebrew servants, and those servants, I don't know how God treats those servants. But this one is talking about a Hebrew servant, so it's not like perpetual slavery unless the servant wants to be a perpetual slave. Right here, he will be a servant for life. So there are servants for life. And then it's verses 7. It says that if a man sells his daughter as a servant, so people that day, I guess, sell their children as servants too. And I see this in the Asian culture too, like look like from historical dramas and stuff. So people do sell other family member off to like pay for their debt. And it's interesting because I think when a female is sold as a servant, then it seems like it's for marriage like purposes. Like, so then because it continues and say that he has no right to sell her to foreigners because he has broken faith with her. So like if it's different for a female because I guess God wants to protect the female, and so like it's interesting that she is not to go free as male servants do, but it's to protect her. The sense that I got from here is to protect her, and that she needs to be protected by the male that bought her. So it seems like for a marriage purpose. So she is to go free without any payment of money. So if he doesn't guarantee her like the food, clothing, and marital rights, then she is to go free without payment of money. So I think the sense that I got from verse 7 to 11 is for the protection of the female. And then it goes on to talk about like intentional versus unintentional injury. And so anyone that kills another person will be put to death, but if it's done unintentionally, and the thing that stood out to me is but God lets it happen. So sometimes people can unintentionally hurt someone, and if God lets it happen, then there is a designated place that they can flee to escape death. So it's interesting to me, that phrase, but God lets it happen. So it just kind of reinforces the idea that everything that happens to us, it's God still is in control. We might think it's an accident or like a misfortune or anything like of that sort, but we have to understand that even the unfortunate things that happen to us, if it happens to us, then God let it happen. So God's sovereignty is displayed here. Verse 15 really hit home to me because I actually slapped my dad out of anger once, and he showed me a lot of mercy by forgiving my sin. But I keep on getting reminded whenever I read this that if I lived during the time of the Mosaic Law, then I would have been put to death. So it just reminds me of the gravity of my sin. And right here, so it's again talk about like the payment system for offenses. And right here, it also says that a slave is their property. So I don't know if God endorses slavery, but I don't think the Bible endorses slavery. I think it just talks about the reality of what is going on at that point. That slavery exists, servanthood exists, and they are considered property because they were bought at a price. I think that is the intention. It's not to promote slavery like some people claim it to be. And so back then, during the Mosaic time, like the law is to like take an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and it's interesting that even during that part, if a person was like a person's like eye or teeth was destroyed, like a body function was destroyed, then the slave must be set free to compensate for that body part. So I think that whatever body part it is that was destroyed is considered to be priceless, like in terms that like it's the person needs to be free. There's no like set price put on it, even for something as small as a tooth. And then talk about how animals like should be animal like injury should be done. Yeah, so if the owner knows about it but didn't do anything about it, then they are liable. But if not, then they are not liable pretty much. But yeah, so that's pretty much it's the hard part is just about the slavery part. Yeah. So those are my thoughts while reading this.